Some people like a little bit warmer tones, some people like a little bit cooler tones, and so on. Film look is very popular and trendy right now. And no wonder, because film pictures simply look awesome. So it's no wonder why many people want that same or similar look in their digital pictures too. If you like that kind of a look for your digital files, and if you occasionally shoot some rolls of film, I think you're gonna like this. But first, the compulsory disclaimer. I have to put the sponsored label here on the screen because I have an affiliate link for DxO products down below, and if you use my Matti15 code, you'll get 15% off. But other than that, this video is not sponsored. No one paid me to make this video, and no one told me what to say in this video. DxO FilmPack8 is a dedicated app for the film look for your digital pictures. But it can also convert your film pictures that you scanned with your digital camera, whether they are color negatives or black and white negatives. There are many other apps or plugins that can give you the film look for your digital pictures, and there are many dedicated converters for film shooters. But to my understanding, DxO FilmPack8 is the only app that can do both. So if you like the film look for your digital pictures and you also shoot occasionally a few rolls of film, like myself for example, FilmPack8 makes a lot of sense because that one app can handle both your digital files and your film files. I think it's best if I show you what FilmPack8 can do for you, and then you can better understand the app and you can decide whether you like or whether you need the app or not. This is not going to be a full-blown tutorial. I'm just going to show you what FilmPack8 can do for you with a relatively minimal amount of work. First, I'm going to apply the film look to some digital files. Then I'm going to convert some color negatives into positives that look great on your screen or great if you print them. And then I'm going to convert some black and white negatives into positives that look great on your screen or great if you decide to print them. Okay, here's the first picture, an environmental portrait shot on my Sony a7 Mark IV camera. Here on the right side of the screen we have all these presets, which are really great if you just want a quick one-click film look. These are so great and there are so many to choose from. But I usually like to fine-tune the outcome slightly, and that's why I want to go to the Customize panel, which you can find in the top right corner of the screen. First we can select our film rendering type: digital films, cinematic films, color slide film, and color negative film. The first two, digital films and cinematic films, they are more artificial film looks. They can look great, but if you want the more real film look, you choose either color slide film or color negative film. My preference usually is color negative film. Let's apply, for example, Kodak Portra 400 to this picture. I think it looks pretty good. The highlights are slightly hot, so I go to the development panel and pull back the highlights slightly, like so. And now it looks pretty much perfect to me with a very little effort. Let's try one more, like for example Kodak Ektar 100. Looks also really nice straight out of the box. I don't need to do any fine-tuning to this. You can also choose film grain if you like. I usually don't like to add grain to my digital pictures, but you can if you want. You can also choose your film size, which I think is really neat because obviously if you used 35mm film, the grain is much more pronounced compared to medium format, for example. So if you really want to fine-tune your film look, you can use this option too. I think this is really great and quite a unique option in my opinion. Here's another picture from the Nikon Z6 Mark III. I'm gonna go straight into the Customize panel, and select another film rendering. Let's go to color slide film. This time let's select Fuji Velvia 50. And now I'd like to fine tune this. I'll pull back the highlights, I open up the shadows just a tiny bit, and I'm pretty happy with the result as it is now. Let's try another film rendering, color negative. This time Fujifilm Superia Extra 800 looks like this. In my opinion, needs no fine tuning. It looks great as it is. I'm not gonna add any grain to this because, like I said, I don't like to add grain to my digital pictures. Here's one more picture. This one is from my Lumix GX880, and I want to apply a color negative film rendering to this. I'm going to choose Agfa Vista 200. Wow, the shadows went kinda too black to my taste, so I'm going to go to the development panel and open up the shadows just a tiny bit. And now it looks pretty good to me. I don't have to do anything more. I'm pretty happy with the result. Now let's move on to the color negatives, which in my opinion are the trickiest to convert because of the color. This picture is shot on the Kodak Gold 100 film back in 1990. The Cadillac in the picture belonged to my friend David when I lived in California a long time ago. I'm gonna go straight into the Customize panel, and first I select Invert Image. It doesn't look too great yet. Now I'm going to select Color Shift Neutralizer. There are several options, linear and then numbers from 1 to 10. To my eyes, number 1 looks the best, so I'm gonna select that. Next, I'm going to select my film rendering. There is no Kodak Gold 100 here, but I'm going to try Kodak Elite Color 200, which looks pretty good to me already. But it's a little bit too bright, the picture, so I'm gonna go to the development panel and pull back the exposure slightly. I'm also going to increase the contrast a little bit and pull back the highlights. And already the picture looks pretty good to me with very little amount of post-processing work, which I think it's important. These color negatives can be really tricky to manually convert to something that looks good, unless you have a lot of experience. Here's another film picture shot on my Holga camera about 25 years ago. This was shot on the Kodak Ektacolor Pro 400 film. First I'm going to invert the picture. Doesn't look too good yet. Now I'm gonna select the Color Shift Neutralizer again, select the number 2 option. Already looks pretty darn good, to my eyes at least. But it looks a little bit too bright. So I'm gonna go to the development panel, pull back the exposure slightly, add a little bit of contrast. I could probably fine tune it a little bit further still, but I'm pretty happy as it is, especially considering the amount of work that went into this picture so far. The film renderings in the app, they cover pretty much every current film stock available today. However, if you shot a certain film that has no matching preset here in the app, you can still get pretty good results by experimenting with these presets that are already in the app. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I have many old negatives shot on whatever film was available like 30-40 years ago, but I can still get really good results with these color negative presets that are in FilmPack8. Here's my first black and white film picture, which I shot on the Ilford Delta 100 film. I'm gonna go straight into the Customize panel, select black and white, invert image. I don't need the Color Shift Neutralizer here because it's black and white, but now I'm going to select my black and white film rendering, which of course is the Ilford Delta 100. And it looks really good as it is. I could fine tune this picture. Maybe I want to pull back the highlights just a tiny bit like so, and maybe open up the shadows just a little bit like so. And I don't think I could do any better job by manually converting this, even though black and white is relatively easy to convert compared to color negative. Here's another black and white film picture shot on the Ilford Delta 400 film First I'm gonna select black and white, then I'm gonna select invert. Not bad, but too flat, lacking contrast. Next I'm going to select my film rendering, which is going to be Ilford Delta 400, of course, right there. Still looks flat to me. I'm gonna add contrast all the way to 100, and I'm also going to pull down the black point slightly, and now it looks really good to my eyes, almost perfect. And also in this case, I don't think I could do much better job by manually converting this black and white picture. That's all I have for you in this video. I really hope you found this useful and helpful, and if you did, please feel free to buy me a cup of coffee, link down below if you don't live in Finland. Thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon in the next one.